What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here with this episode of Stompbox Saturday, and on the Stompin' Block today, it is probably one of the craziest and most fun delay pedals I've ever had the pleasure of checking out. It is the Mondergreen from Old Blood Noise Endeavors, and I'm having myself my own version of Coffee and Riffs right now. As many of you know, Brady and Seth from Old Blood are the guys behind the Coffee and Riffs series, and they are also known for making some quite stellar and otherworldly kind of pedals. And the Mondergreen, to me, is probably one of the best examples of the philosophy that Old Blood espouses. It is all about exploration. It is all about finding sounds that you never thought possible, putting them into a pedal, and making them easily tweakable and easy to dial in. And man, I don't really know exactly quite how to describe the Mondergreen other than it's a delay that maybe exists in an alternate dimension. I don't know. It's some Bioshock Infinite kind of stuff. It's some Carl Sagan stuff. I don't know. But whatever this thing is, it is so much fun to play. So let's check out the knobs and the switches, and let's see exactly how you're going to be dialing in your otherworldly delay sound. So you got 4 knobs. You got a mix knob, pretty self-explanatory, mix in the amount of affected signal. You have your time knob, which goes from pretty quick to a very, very long second plus of delay time. You certainly don't want to crank the feedback knob, which is, of course, is going to be how much of that delayed signal goes on and on and on. You certainly don't want to crank that when you have the second on, unless, of course, you're trying for something super experimental. And then you have the morph knob, which kind of changes its function depending on the mode that you've selected on the Mondergreen. And then we get to the 3-way toggle in the middle of the pedal. You have stutter, whirl, and what you heard at the top of the video, shear. They each have a very cool characteristic to their sound that it's really amazing just how much is packed into this pedal, because this is no much bigger than an MXR pedal, but you're getting sounds out of it that you certainly haven't heard from much MXR pedals in recent past. So the best way that I know how to show this pedal off is to show you some of the sounds that I've found as I've been exploring with the Mondergreen. So let's go ahead and start out with stutter. In case you didn't figure out, stutter is a tremolo echo combination that it provides a really cool motion, of course, being that tremolo is what, people? That's right, it's an amplitude modulation, not a pitch modulation. I'm glad you guys are with me on this one. That means a lot to me. But anyway, this is one of the most interesting delay sounds that I've ever played around with. That combination of echo and tremolo is really, really interesting. It's really, really cool, and it's not something that you hear a whole lot. Now, the cool thing is, as you increase the time knob, the delay gets slower, but the tremolo gets a little faster. I love the little artifact that you get from turning the time knob. Some of you might not like that, but I think it's kind of nifty. Kind of sounds like old Nintendo games when you turn it really fast. Very, very cool. Now the morph knob is kind of adding on a little bit of a modulation to it. So if I go ahead and turn that up all the way. Keep my delay time a little short and put up the feedback a little bit more. Adds a nice little seasickness to it. At least that's what I'm hearing. Now, the one thing I can say is let's go ahead and hear that without the echo sound. And now turning it on. Off. On. So where the output of the pedal is, it kind of gives you a little bit of boost, and that's to be expected. You're combining an affected signal with a dry signal, and you're going to get a little bit of a volume boost. But that's easily fixable. You just go inside the pedal, you turn that trim pot down, and you'll be able to do your gain staging perfectly fine. And that's across all modes. It's one of the little bugaboos I have, but it's easily fixable, which is nice. The fact that they thought ahead enough is very, very cool. But that's stutter, a very interesting combination of effects that you don't encounter a whole lot. So let's go ahead and check out whirl. I call this setting seasick, and it uses the whirl mode, which is the Mondegreen's modulation delay. And the cool thing about the Mondegreen's modulation delay is that you can get seasick. You can really get an extreme modulation on there, or you can go subtle just by turning the morph knob. Turning it back, we get something a little bit more polite in the modulation. Turn the feedback up enough, put it on a volume pedal, and you've got a really cool delay for volume swells. And this is one of the settings where I could see that little bit of a volume boost coming in handy, especially if you're doing swells. Sometimes, no matter how good you are with your volume knob or how good you are with your volume pedal, you just don't quite hit the notes and move your volume knob or your pedal at the right time to really get an effective swell. That little bit of a boost makes up for that, and you can get something that will swell and decay out for quite some time. I think, you know what? I'm just going to show you guys how much delay time there is on this in this mode. I'm going to turn the morph back, turn the feedback all the way down, and we're going to go for max delay time. I love the time knob artifacts. See? And it's going. Man, even with the feedback knob turned all the way down, you're still getting a few repeats. So if you're one of those guys that likes to play around with really, really long delay time, this pedal is definitely going to be your friend. Let's go for something in that realm. Maybe we'll try making the feedback kind of long. We'll put a little bit of modulation on it, and then we'll start playing, and then we'll dial in the mix knob to taste. Nice. Shear mode. I've never heard anything like it. I really haven't. It is a delay that, as it repeats and as it decays, it successively pitch shifts each repeat up an octave, up 2 octaves, up 3 octaves, until it just stops and starts decaying out. And it sounds like the kind of delay that a wizard would use. I don't know, Gandalf, Radagast, Saruman, whichever one. Probably Saruman, because to me this sound is many colors. So Saruman of many colors. That's pretty fitting. It's just so cool. I am, when I started playing with this sound and really started hitting on the settings that I liked on it, I just kind of knew this was it. This was my favorite, and this was probably going to be 83% of the time is going to be what I use this pedal for. It's just such a unique sound. Not a whole lot of pedals do it, and the ones that do don't always do it well. This one definitely does it well. This is what you heard at the top of the video with that galloping dotted 8 thing that I was doing. I just think that sound adds a whole new dimension to that kind of pattern and that kind of sound. The morph knob on this one adds a little bit of modulation to it, and I like it on the subtle side. It kind of keeps those higher pitches nice and in tune with what you're playing, but of course you can turn it all the way up and you can get something that's a little bit more warbly. It's a pretty subtle modulation. It's not too much, and it's just right to be able to give you some nice motion so that you feel, I don't know, kind of like you're drowning in the echoes. I just think it's cool. I don't have much else to say other than that. You heard it at the top of the video. You just heard it now. Shear. It's my favorite mode on the Mondegreen. And that, my friends, is your look at the Mondegreen from Old Blood Noise Endeavors. Man, if, like I said, if any pedal that they make exemplifies their philosophy, it's definitely the Mondegreen. Super experimental and exploratory in its sounds and in its nature, and it's just a whole lot of fun. You know, you might find some sounds that you're not necessarily sure if they're going to work, but hey, you just never know. Sometimes the sounds that don't seem like they're going to work are the best ones. The only thing that I have to say negative is that volume boost, and really the fact that they've already told you in the user's manual that you can easily adjust that by opening up the pedal and adjusting the trim pot that they've put in there for you to adjust means that they've already thought ahead. You know, some of you guys might like that little bit of a volume boost. Some of you might not. Myself, I'm definitely going to go in there and I'm going to adjust it and gain stage it to the way that I like it to sound. But that's it, and they've already thought of that. So props to you guys. Thank you so much for sending this my way. And hey, I want to know what you guys thought. Leave me a comment below, and be sure you click the subscribe button now to never miss an episode of Stompbox Saturday. And until the next time, I wish you great tone and happy stomping. Cheers.